Hello and welcome back to Python, and today we are gonna handling, and yeah, there's no pun intended, exception handling. This was a topic I thought about including in the basic tutorials, but yeah, we can dive more into it when we are using it as our own tutorial. And yeah, as I'm saying, let's dive into it. What are exceptions? Let's raise an exception with a print 2 plus an empty string entry 3. And there we have our exception, index error, string index out of range. So an index error is an exception. Another example for an exception, and that is pretty simple, pretty common, and you probably know it, is this exception, the zero division error. So yeah, like in maths we can't divide with zero, and on many occasions we are writing programs and scripts which aren't supposed to just stop or be terminated just because there's an exception, so we need to handle certain exceptions. And using doing this, we have try and except. In other languages, you may know it as try and catch. So what we are using now, or doing now, not using, what we are doing now is we write a code in the block of under try, which is a kind of code which can raise an exception, and if the exception is raised, we have our except block which will execute it if an exception was raised. For example, we can have except zero division error. So when we are using the exception block, we have our zero. We have to certify what kind of exception is accepted. So now if there will be raised a zero division error, now we print, oh no, I can't do that. And if we print it now, the program won't be terminated just because of the exception, but we are getting what is printed in the except zero division error, in the exception block, in the except block, this one. So this only goes if an exception is raised. For example, if we write executable code like this one, the exception block won't get executed, you see. And if we have another exception like the index error, the program will still be terminated with the exit code 1, which means there is an exception. So what we can do in that case, we can also type except index error, and in this block we print wrong index, and now wrong index is printed. If we type, for example, 3 through 0, we will get in the first exception block, because first the zero division error is raised, and then the index error would be raised if there wouldn't be a zero division error. Now we get a type error because he wants an integer for an index. But what we can also do is we can just write another exception. So to catch all exceptions, we can simply write down exception. Now it doesn't matter which exception we are or which error occurs. It's just that we can now not do whatever we want, but any mistake, any error will lead us to the exception block, which is here, and this will be printed in that case. Now what we got here is a warning. This is not an error, so the code will still be executed like you will see here. The string was printed. Also for the zero division error, it won't occur, or the index error won't occur either, because we just catched every exception with our exception. So we also can have declare our exception as a variable. I don't know if declaring is the right word, but with E we have a variable which is the exception which occurred. So we can print string index out of range if we print the exception as an E. If we print type of E, we'll get index error as a class. So the exception E is a class, and the class mostly could have some functions, but not in this case. Last but not least, our last kind of block we have is the finally block. So the finally block is simply what always is executed no matter if the exception occurs or not. So I don't know what will happen now. If we also type E, we get the error that the E is not defined, so E just goes for the block above, of course. But we can print, for example, another string, random string, and although we waste an exception, we get this string. We can also waste our very own exception, like a zero division error. Or like waste exception. Now we simply waste an exception. So the point in exception handling is that the program won't crash just because an error occurs. So using exception handling will be pretty common in future coding. I am done with this tutorial. Hopefully we see you at the next tutorial. Have a nice evening, day, dinner time, whatever time it is. See you, bye bye.